All right, we're now on to number 5 of the Popcorn and Puff bundle. Washcloth bundle, that is, which is the last one. And then we move on to a different one. But this one, okay, so you'll need any cotton yarn, preferably cotton because it is more absorbent, it is better for washcloths. If you want to turn it into something else, then by all means choose a different yarn. This one's going to have a nice lacy appearance too, so I apologize for the dark yarn, but it will help show the lace work against the white background, so it will make sense in the end. I'm using Knit Picks Dishy and a 5mm hook. You will use whatever hook matches your yarn. If you're using the same yarn, then aim for the 5mm. If you find that your tension is too loose, then go down to a smaller hook. If you find that it is too tight, go up to a bigger hook. It's the easiest way to adjust and help. Stitches you'll need to know for this one. So your basic one, so if you know single crochet and your double crochet, so I'm using US terms. I will refer occasionally to the UK terms. And then we'll have a V-stitch and a puff stitch, and I'll explain those and I'll also link to them. But if you can either use this washcloth as an opportunity to practice them, or you can go and practice them and then come back until you are more confident. Now this one's a little different to adjust, so if you want to make it wider, we're going to do your starting chain in multiples of 3 and then add 8. So just keeping in mind what I have done for the other one. So the original pattern, we're doing a chain count of 44. I'm not going to go that wide. So multiples of 3, I will probably go to 21 and then I will add 8 from that. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 21. And then because I need to add 8, so that'll take me to 29. My other ones that I've done just for show here were multiples of around 25. So that'll work. So I've done 21. So now 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So again, adjust it to whatever size you prefer. But that's mine. So row 1, what we're going to do is we're going to work the first stitch in the 6th chain from the hook. So this is a little hard to see because this is so dark. I'm going to work in the bump. You can work into the bump or you can work into the V. So we're going to find the 6th one first and then I'll explain what the stitch is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we're going to do a V stitch. So your V stitch is, I've got a tutorial as well. Oops. Trying to find the bump properly. So your V stitch is a double crochet. In this occasion, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. And the bonus with the V stitch is it means we usually work into the space. So anywhere we can work into the space, I find much simpler. Okay, so that's the first stitch. So you've got so this is going to end up being chain spaces as well as a double crochet at the end. So we're now going to skip 2. 1, 2, and then we're going to do a V stitch again into that 3rd stitch. So that's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet back in that same stitch. So what you do is it ends up looking like a V because they start at the bottom and they spread out. Okay, so that's your V. We're just going to keep repeating that until we've got 2 chains left. So skip 2 and then in that 3rd one we're going to do a V stitch. Chain 1, double crochet. Hopefully I get my stitch count right. So skip 2, then you've got V stitch in the next one. Skip 2, then the next one. So every 3rd stitch we're working into. And again, if you've got the pattern, so if you do buy the pattern, there is a picture guide in there as well, so you can always use that to refer back to, and it just Sometimes it just makes it easier to figure out what I've said. Okay, 3. So I should be nearing the end. So yep, so there's the third. So I'm left with 2 chains. So I'll just finish this V-stitch. And it's normal for them to just pull up a bit because it's got chains on either side. So you'll find that the V's kind of pull up and, I don't know, look a little bit sloppy, but it's okay. We'll tidy it up with a border. So we've got 2 stitches left. So we're going to now just skip one and do a double crochet into that last one. Because what you'll find here is with your V's, so it's essentially worked over 3 stitches because you've got the 2 plus a chain, which is why we've skipped them in between. Okay, so if you just see that on the dark, I haven't turned yet, but you can see it should look like little V's. Okay, so row 3. So I've turned. I'm now going to do, so this is going to seem weird to start with. Okay, so we're going to chain 1. So this pattern, so if you need to, take some notes because we're going to be repeating rows 2 and row 3. So chain 1, and we're going to do a single crochet into that first stitch. So into that double crochet that we finished with at the last round. We're then going to chain 3. Okay, now it's going to seem like it's all loose and floppy, but that's okay. We're now going to do a puff. Now this puff only has the 3 yarn over and pull ups. So 1, 2, 3. So you're working into the chain space of that V. And then we're going to chain 3. And we're going to do a single crochet in the space between the V stitches, okay? So your V stitches, you've got the 2 double crochet. So this is why the contrast is helpful here. So I'm going to work between the chains. So I'm not working into the stitch, not the chain, between the stitches. So I'm not working into any stitches, I'm not working into a chain space, but we're pretending that that's a chain space. So we're going to do a single crochet between those stitches. We're then going to chain 3. And then we're just going to keep repeating that all again. Okay, so we're going to do a puff in the V stitch. Then we're going to chain 3. And then we're going to do a single crochet in between those V's. Okay, so there's your V, the next V. There's the last double crochet of that stitch, the first double crochet of that one. So we're just going to work into that space in between. And then chain 3. Okay. Puff into the V stitch. Chain 3. Then work in between. Chain 3. So just remember that there's a chain 3 between everything until we get to the end. Puff in the V stitch. Chain 3. Puff in between the single crochet in between the V stitches. Chain 3. Puff in the V. I need more yarn. That might turn a bit because it's coming from a long chain, so just turn it back. Chain 3. Single crochet between the V's, chain 3. Into puff in the V. Single crochet in between. Puff. Okay. Chain 3. So you can see it's starting to look a little, it looks like it's overgrown, but I promise it'll all make sense when you get to the end. Okay, so now we've got single crochet, chain 3, puff. Oh my goodness. 1, 2, 3. So I'm at the end. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to chain 3 again. And that last stitch is going to go into the, instead of between the V's, because, well, the V's are finished, we're going to put it into the top of that chain 3, though it's a bit more than a chain 3 there. So just, so there's the top of your double crochet, so just put it right into the chain loop next to it. And then we're going to turn. So I'll just lay it down so you can see some contrast against the white. So you can see it's all a little bit loopy, but I promise it will make sense. Okay, so we're on row 3. So row 2 and row 3 are the ones we're going to repeat. So we're going to start with a chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a double crochet and a chain 1, essentially. So now we're only working into the V stitches. So we're ignoring the chain spaces, we're ignoring the single crochet, we're only working into the puff. Did I say V? I meant puff. We're making V's into the puff stitches. Okay, so we started with a chain 4. So now in the top of that puff stitch, you're going to do a V stitch. So that's your double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Okay. And then you're going to skip all of those things, and this is where it's going to start to make more sense. And you're going to do a V stitch in the top of that puff. Okay, so it's kind of, you can see already that it's starting to just pull it all back together, because right now it's all curved. By the time we get back to the end, it'll have straightened up again. So again, just into the puff stitch. Chain 1, we're working a V stitch, okay? Goodness me. Now, once had someone message me after they bought this pattern on Etsy trying to tell me that I'd written it wrong, but I don't think she actually even tried to make it. So sometimes just try and make it and see how the pattern turns out, because it might not feel like it's making sense. And this is one of those where it just feels like you've got way too many stitches, which we have, but it all works out because this is the lacy stitch. Okay, so this is why we're just working into the puffs. So what you've got is those chain 3s, and the single crochets end up being, the chain 3s are for height. They're not for width. Oh, I've just created a knot. So by working over the single crochets and over those chain spaces, you're actually giving your stitches some height. This is sometimes how crochet ends up being magical. Things don't seem to make sense, and then, oh, look at that, they're all straight. See, look, you can already see how well it's straightening out. So it looked all curvy and way too long, and now it's all straightening up. Pen's in the way. Okay, so we've got this as our last V, and then we're going to finish. So we're going to skip over that chain, and we're going to work into a double crochet into that single crochet on the very end. So ignore the chain 3, and this will give it the last bit of height that it needs. Okay, so then when we turn, we now have it all laid out, and color's a little bit hard, but hopefully you can see that you've got a lacy little piece working up. Let me see if I can hold it. That's better. See, so you can see it's quite lacy, still quite dark. My puffs are a bit sloppy, but there we go. So just keep doing that until you get to the height that you want. And just make sure that you finish with a repeat of row 2. So row 2 is the one that has the puff. So finish with that, and then I'll come back and show you the last row, because we're going to do it differently because it's the last row before we add the border, and then we'll add the border. Okay, so this one we need to add a final row before we add the border, because we don't want to have it all higgledy-piggledy. We want to make it a straight edge. So what we're going to do is you can chain 1, and we're going to do 1 single crochet into that first stitch there. Okay, now we're going to chain 2. Oops, why am I all the way over there? Chain 2, and then we're going to do a single crochet into the top of the puff. Then we're going to chain 2. We're going to skip all of those ones in the middle, and we're going to do a single crochet in the top of that puff. Okay, then chain 2 and a single crochet in the top of that puff. So we're just going to continue that all the way along. So you can see we're creating a nice straight edge so that it matches the bottom and makes it easier to add that border. Chain 2. Now if you're using UK terms, then that's a double crochet. Chain 2, double crochet. Making sure we're working only into the puff. Okay, chain 2, and that last one we're going to do a single crochet into that last single crochet. Okay, so it sits a little bit lower, and there we go. We now have a straight edge and we're ready to add our border. So the border, this one, we're going to just turn it slightly. We're going to work down the side first. Okay, so you're going to start with a chain 1. Oops, chain 1. Now what we're going to aim to do on this one is we're going to aim to work 1 single crochet into each single crochet, and then 2 single crochet around each chain space. Okay, so this first row here we're going to do a single crochet, and then we've got the chain 3 or the double crochet, and we're going to do 2 around that. And then we should have a single crochet. So at the puff round you kind of got the single crochet there. Just go wherever makes sense, and then 2 around the next one. Okay, then 1 at that single crochet where the puff is. So just work it as evenly as you can. If that's not making sense to you, then just wherever makes sense to you is fine. So 2 around there, 1 there. I'm even losing track. This dark yarn does not help. Okay. And there's a single crochet, and then around the edge. And there should be a single crochet somewhere there. Near enough is good enough. Okay. If I'm not fussed, then you don't need to be fussed. Okay, then when we get to the corner, it's a corner that if you've done more of these, you should be familiar with. Okay, so the corner, like that stitch right on the edge, we're going to do 1 single crochet, chain 1, 1 single crochet. So it's kind of like a single crochet for each side, and then a chain 1 for the actual diagonal corner. All right, so side 2, so this is the base here. So what we're going to do is 2 single crochet in the chain spaces that we've got, and 1 at the base of the V stitch. So you can see there's the base of your V. I've worked into that first stitch, so I'm going to start with the V there. Then I got a chain space. I'm going to work over my tail because I don't want to weave it in later. So I've got 2 single crochet into that chain space. And then I've got 1 into the base of the V. Just trying to work over my tail as well. Then 2 single crochet into the chain space. And then 1 into the base of that V. Okay, so this one's a little bit more confusing, but it's okay. Okay, base of the V into that chain space. Base of the V, chain spaces. Base of the V, chain space. You get into a bit of a rhythm by the end of the row. Okay, so we got 2 on the end. It's going to be a little bit more confusing because you've got the whole corner. So we're just going to do a single crochet wherever works. Yeah, because we had the chain to turn. It doesn't want to go in. I want to try and get 2 parts of that bead. All right, so single crochet, chain 1, single crochet again. It's a little bit trickier. Okay, then we're going to work down the side, and we're going to do same as what we did on that first side, where we're going to try to do 2 single crochets around the posts and the chains, and then 1 into the single crochet. Okay, so 2 around the post, the chain, whatever's there, 1 into the single crochet. I'm all over the place. Just go where works. I feel like that was a single crochet there. Dark yarn really does not help. I totally do not recommend dark yarn. Hopefully I've adjusted the lighting well enough that you can see it better than I can. Okay, single crochet, post. There's a single crochet, there's a post. Again, you might want to add the next round in a different color. See how much yarn you've got left. Get quite a few. Making them these smaller sizes, you'll get more washcloths out of them, obviously. Okay, just do 1 in there. All right, so now into that corner. So we got a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet. Now the last side, because this one's a little bit different as well. So we got the base of the puff there. So this time we're going to do 2 single crochet. So it's similar to the other side. Opposite side, 2 single crochet into the chain spaces, and then 1 single crochet where you've got the puff stitch. Okay, 2 single crochet into the chain space, and then 1 where the puff stitch worked. So 2, 1. If you don't want to hear me, just mute me. Fast forward to the next bit, whichever works for you. Okay, but you just get into a rhythm. Once you've done the first few, it's not so difficult. This looks a little bit wonky, but it'll all stretch out. To the chain space. You could turn this into anything as well. This would make a lovely lacy blanket. You could turn it into a wrap, a scarf, lacy scarf. Make a top, market bag. I have to get a little bit more creative there. Okay, so last stitch, we're just going to do a single crochet, chain 1, and then I'm just going to slip stitch now to that first stitch, and that'll finish that corner off. Oop, it's a little bit tight. Okay, so there we've now got the base for our border. So round 2, we'll just continue like we've done with many of our other borders. So we'll just do a single crochet into each stitch on the side. This just tidies it up just that little bit more. And then when we get to the corner, we'll do the same as we've been doing. We'll work into that chain space. So I won't show you all 4 sides for this one. I'll just get myself to the corner. This one does, well, it's got a bit of a front and a back, but not totally obvious. But once you add the border, so if you want to keep it with neither front or the back, then you can turn for this round of the border. Okay, nearly there. So in that chain 1 space, we're going to do, if I can see it, a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and then we just continue as we were. So just be mindful that that first stitch on the side is going to be a little bit hidden. If I don't know what's going on, I'm just going to do it there. So if you skip, it really doesn't matter. Okay, so just continue that. So you got 1 into each stitch on the side. In your chain 1 space, you've got a single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and you can see it's just looking a little bit fatter, a little bit more solid. All right, so continue and I'll meet you back here for the finish. So slip stitch to that first single crochet, fastening off. I don't feel like I did that very well. And then we've got a nice lacy one, and again, I really don't recommend working with these dark colors unless, well, they're good for hiding mistakes, I guess. But you'll really need to be working in some really good light to be able to see them properly. Okay, so just weaving in my ends. So this is the last one. So a new bundle will be coming out soon. And yeah, so if you want to, you can practice this one more. If you want more of the details, so if you haven't written all the notes, purchase the bundle, have them in your library to go through. You can join the Hooked on Crochet Club, where we give a new washcloth every month that you can play with, plus much, much more. This is the right way up. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that one. I'd love to know which one was your favorite out of all of these Popcorn and Puff bundle. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next week.